First of all, hi, you look fabulous.
Hi, thank you. I actually took a shower just for you today.
I feel honored.
I realized as I was blowing out my hair that my bangs were like down to here, so I actually just cut them myself. So I'm pretty proud of myself right now.
You just did that right now?
Yep.
I love it. They look good.
Yep. I mean,
bangs, those are the hardest thing to cut.
Well, I mean, I had them before lockdown, but they were just so long because I've been in the house for 3 weeks. So yeah, I just cut them. Apparently there's a lot of great tutorials on YouTube.
We're finding so many things to do with our time right now. It's crazy. I have to ask you about that. Obviously, you have is a 5 and an 8-year-old at home with you?
I do, yes.
How is it going? How are they handling things? Do they get what's happening?
I think they do. And they're handling it as well as they can be. I think kids are really resilient, right? And so really the reaction is a reflection of how, Dave and I react to things. So I am constantly just trying to, because it's that fine line. You want to shelter them, but you also need to be honest with them and validate any fear they have, because I think that's super important. So we're constantly battling this line of like how much to tell them, and I'm sure parents everywhere can relate. But it's interesting, the thing that they are concerned about, and I think that it's because in the beginning of all of this, it was said a lot that kids were not susceptible to the illness.
Mm-hmm.
So even though that narrative has changed, and that has changed, my kids feel like they're safe, but now they're just really worried about my parents.
Right.
So much of the news is about our older senior citizens being critically ill. And so that has been the biggest sort of struggle in trying to comfort them is, Mammy and Papa are okay. And, they're doing everything they possibly can be doing to stay healthy. And so that's been the hardest part. But look, we're all struggling. Nobody knows what we're doing. We're just all kind of doing the best we can under these circumstances. And I'm hopeful that by the end of this, we come out better for it, because I would hate to think that we've gone through all of struggle and heartache to stay exactly where we were before this, which was a very, divided country with polarized views. So I'm hopeful, and I think we can't ever lose hope. And I think that that's the beautiful thing of kids, and that great reminder, because they just have this innate ability to A, to know what's right and wrong,
right,
and B, just to have this infectious hope about them for a brighter tomorrow.
Yeah, they have their positivity, they have their happiness, and they're still learning things. So it's, it kind of lets you know as an adult, hey, we need to find that inner child again too.
Yeah, I think they're just imprinted as far as survival goes to hope. I think I've been an ambassador for UNICEF since 2003, and the greatest lesson that experience has taught me, and I've been all over the world, is that it doesn't matter what children are going through and what hardships they're going through. Every child, whether they're suffering from malnourishment or preventable disease that they didn't get vaccinated for, every child hopes for a brighter tomorrow. And I think that's just the survival mechanism that they have. And I don't know where we lose that, because I think a lot of us get sort of labored and cynical the older that we get. So I love having children, especially at this time of my life where, you know, I could look at them and be reminded of why we fight for what we fight for.
Absolutely. Are they happy that mom's the teacher?
I think they were happy week one. Now they're kind of like, I mean, because the whole Common Core math, and I know I'm not alone in this. You know, when I went to school, back in the good old days, when I went into school, we just carried the one in math.
Right.
Okay, it wasn't complicated. We just carried the one. Now with this Common Core math, I mean, I can't wrap my, and I'm dyslexic, so I'm like, God, like, what is happening right now? Just carry the one, you know.
That's the answer. Carry the one.
Carry the one for everything. As the answer for every math question that they have, I go, yeah, just carry the one. So
It's probably, does it kind of stress you out? Because I couldn't imagine having to do that.
Yeah, the whole thing is really stressful. Yes, and to know, I mean, parenting is stressful anyway, right? I mean,
Right.
I've always been super honest about, you know, where some women are like, oh my God, it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life. No, it's the most terrifying thing I've ever done in my life. I mean, I love them, but there are definitely days where, and I know parents can relate to this, where I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, they're still here.
What's happening?
What is happening? Why are you, this is like the longest relationship I've ever had. So it's, you know, and then to fear that you are in some way screwing them up. Like, I go to bed every night, like taking inventory, like how did I like, what moments today would put them in therapy 15 years from now? Like, I just through the list.
Right.
You know, and so it's definitely a terrifying thing, and with that, that there's a sickness going around, and that people are struggling, and not only, you know, are we to keep our children healthy even in the best of circumstances, in the healthiest of circumstances, but when we're faced with a pandemic, the thought of, how do I keep my children safe, becomes, you know, a real different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also hard to find the right words to explain in a way that's not terrifying for them, but also still validates their fear for what is happening right now, and the magnitude of what's happening, and lives lost. So yeah, it's all very, very tricky, and then to deal with, you know, our own emotions in as well, and to validate our own fear as being something that should not be ignored, but actually kind of like taken out and dissected. It's very difficult, and I am one of those people that have it easy. I am blessed. I am of privilege to be able to worry about those things and not worry about how I'm going to have to get food on the table. It's a scary time. I think everyone's feeling it.
Yeah, absolutely. And just hearing you say that, obviously sending out love to, again, I'm not a parent, I'm an aunt, I miss my niece, but to have to deal with your own emotions and then also take care of the kids. And so just sending love to you and your family, and obviously all the other parents out there, because it is a difficult job on the daily.
All the other parents. I mean, I was watching someone on the news last night who, she had the illness. She had 4 kids. Her husband was in the hospital with the illness. Her 15-year-old had just come down with the illness. And then she had like an 8 and 6-year-old to take care of on top of that while she was sick. I mean, these are unprecedented times, and there is no right way to get through this, except that we all have to hold space for each other and hope that we come out better for it.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people are heading to our TVs. We're streaming things. You're looking up things for haircuts. You know, it's a whole situation to try to get our minds off of what's really happening to our world right now. And again, it's not just us here in it's everywhere that it's happening to. It wouldn't be a quarantine interview if I didn't ask about Tiger King. Have you watched?
Of course I have.
What are your thoughts? Because it's mixed emotions. Is this the craziest thing you've seen ever?
You know what? It was very reminiscent of, for me, the experience of watching Tiger King was very reminiscent of when Jerry Springer first hit the airwaves, right? And it was like a train wreck. We couldn't look away. Even though we felt so horrible for sitting through an hour of that. So I felt very similar watching Tiger King as to that. But I binge watched it I think my husband and I did it in 3 days because we just couldn't get enough.
You couldn't stop looking.
I couldn't stop looking. I could not stop looking. It was just, and it had everything. And I remember my husband reading off the thing on top of Netflix where it describes the show, and it was like Tiger King. It was polygamy, big cats, and death. And I was like, yeah, let's watch that. Yeah.
Who would you see cast in that if they were to do a film about it? Could you see yourself being maybe the Carol Baskin? I don't know. Who could you play?
Who could I play?
Would you? Yeah.
I would like to play the woman with the shaved head that lost her arm.
Yes. Crazy.
Yeah. And then she was back to work like 5 days later.
Like it was nothing.
Like, yeah, it's just an occupational hazard. Getting your arm gnawed off.
Well, here you are. And we will look for this casting because it's going to happen. They're going to do a movie. They have to. I want to do a fun quarantine rapid fire with you. And then obviously want to get into your books and talk to you about that too. So are you down for a little game?
Sure.
Okay. This is a rapid fire. It's feel good. So whatever comes to your head first. All right?
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. What are you most grateful and thankful for?
The health of my family.
One thing you will never take for granted again.
My children's teachers.
Exactly. Favorite feel-good film that is getting you through all of this?
The Cutting Edge.
Really? Okay. Your hero of the day is who?
All the people on the front line, doctors, nurses, first responders.
What are you doing now that you don't usually have time for?
I feel like I have less time now.
The days are going by fast, but it's slow at the same time.
They really are. They really are. It, when I first had my first child, and every day just seemed like it was on a loop. It's like you wake up, you feed them, you put them in for their nap, you go for your walk. But that's what it's feeling like for me now.
Yeah, it's like Groundhog's Day. It's like, here we go again. Okay, and the last one, what's your quarantine name? So I don't know if you've seen this, but people are doing quarantine names. It's what your mood is right now and the last thing that you ate.
And the grateful muffin.
That's cute. I'm gonna get that on a shirt. Okay, now about about your books. I know you have Hope Project Animal Rescue, right?
Yes, that's what is the one that was just released, and then we have book one was a New York Times bestseller, and that was Hope Project Middle School. And
Mm-hmm.
basically, and we have 2 more to come. One's going to be released in October, and that's about Hope running for class president. But basically, these books are just inspired by how children seem to always be able to break down an issue in the most human way possible. Anytime we politicize something, I feel like we dehumanize it. And children don't have that ability. They just look at something for what it is, and they uncomplicate it by just saying, well, that doesn't seem fair, or, everybody's the same, mama, So really the book is a celebration of a child's innate ability to hope, and to encourage children that nature should be something that we as adults should cultivate and celebrate, and really want our child to be able to exercise civic responsibility, and social responsibility, and community responsibility, and what that really means, and giving them the tools to do that. So book 1 was about Hope finding her voice and standing up for what was right. And book 2 is about Hope becoming a community organizer and trying to save her local animal shelter. I'm just so proud of the books, and it's so serendipitous how everyone came together. I mean, I met Eric Keyes, our amazing illustrator from Twitter. He is a character designer for The Simpsons. And
Wow.
And Debbie Rigaud, who is my co-author, and she's just a magical unicorn of a human. I love her so much. So that'd be to say that I'm proud would be an understatement. It really is something that I love doing, and I love this character so much. And really, she just wants to change the world. She just has to get through middle school first to do it.
Right. That's the part. Right.
Yeah.
There.
And I wanted to focus on the book on Hope being in middle school, because I feel like middle school is a really, really hard time for young people.
Yeah.
And it's something that people don't really address as far as authors. So it's a category I really felt was important to get these lessons out there. It's also the time I feel that if there's ever going to be a time in a child's life where they're going to become a little bit more self-consumed and self-reflective, it's going to be really in middle school.
Middle school. Mm-hmm.
So it was important for me to say, well, that's great, but also we have to take care of each other, and we always have to fight for those that are most vulnerable, or give a voice to those that don't have a voice. So
absolutely. And yeah, I think for those that don't have a voice, obviously too, this book that you have out right now, focusing on, the animal rescue. So many people during quarantine right now I know friends of mine who are adopting, puppies and dogs and kittens, everything else. It's really beautiful. And yeah.
And also, where would we be right now if I did? I mean, if I couldn't walk my dogs every day and have that moment of, again, hope, and feeling like this is going to be okay, and this too shall pass. And I think animals are always such a great reminder of life, and what it means to take care of something.
And the kids obviously love the books. You've already introduced them, right? Or are they still are they figuring it out, or have they read them?
No, they've read them. I mean, my daughter can't read yet. She's 5, but I read the first one to them. But an amazing thing that happened that I will never forget is when the first book came out. I was in New York doing the book tour, and when my husband got home from work on that day, he got the kids dressed in their pajamas and brought them to Barnes & Noble, to the bookstore. and took pictures of them with the book in the bookstore. And he said that they ran around the bookstore telling everybody, look, this is my name, because I dedicated the book to them. Look, it's my name, and my mommy wrote this. And they have pictures of my kids in their PJs at night, like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, with the first book in their hand. And I think it's the proudest I've ever been of anything I've ever done.
That is such a beautiful story. I know they're proud of their mama. And I know your husband's proud too. And I'm glad that you guys all have each other during this time, because again, this is difficult. We're all going through it, and we're all figuring it out.
Well, and we're all together, even if we're alone. I know there's a lot of people that are isolating alone right now, and that are single, and that are incredibly lonely. And I know loneliness can be a really dark place, but we are all together in this. I would just like to ask people that if you know someone that is isolating alone, maybe schedule a happy hour.
Girl, hello, I've been doing that every week.
Right? With all your single friends, get on Zoom or FaceTime and try to make a connection, because that's what's gonna get us through all of this, are these connections. And it's what's going to make it okay at the end of the day. But what a time to be living through something like this. What a time.
I know you never thought something like this would happen during this during our generation, but here we are. We're doing it as humans, and I think we're going to come through better at the end of this. I pray we do. So send my love to your family. The girls' bangs look good. You look fabulous.
Thank you. Once this is over, if you need a bang trim, let me know.
Yes. I'm going to grow it out for you, so then I'm going to go to you and get my bangs trimmed.
Perfect.
Thank you, Alyssa.
God bless you all. Thank you for your time.